And I'm here with current Georgia Southern men's basketball player Kamari Brown. Kamari, what's going on, my friend? How's it going?
Going good, going good. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm really excited to get you on the show today and excited to hear a little bit about, preseason stuff and then getting into the year and just your career overall. But first off, how have the first few weeks of the season been? I mean, what's practice been like for you guys so far?
The practice has been at a very high level. Guys are really dialed in. We're working very hard and working on making sure we do our identity. We're a defensive team, so we make sure we implement that every day.
Well, that's great, man. I mean, how was it kind of coming out of COVID, if you will, and I'm sure getting used to, the new normalcy, if you will, but also just kind of having some things get put back into play that weren't pretty much, I would say, normal last year coming into the season.
Right, definitely. It's a lot more different things now because when COVID happened, you couldn't really go to class. Everything was on Zoom. So now it's about making sure you balance your schedule enough, get sleep at nighttime because you have to be at different places at different times and practice and whatnot. So that's probably the adjustments you have to make like that. But as far as practice, everything's probably been the same.
Now, last year was your, and we'll get into your career now. Your last year was your first year at Georgia Southern, and I'm curious, with it being your first year there, and then also COVID going on, what was
Right.
that like? I mean, I'm sure that probably was a tornado of emotions for you to feel having to be a kind of the new guy on the team, and then also having this pandemic swirling around.
Right. It was extremely different. Being first year at the Division 1 school, coming from a junior college, it was definitely different because I didn't get the full college experience because of COVID. So now that everything's back, now it's like I'm getting that experience now than I did than not having it last year. You know.
How challenging was it for you to be able to form that kind of chemistry with your new teammates last year, especially with probably very limited interaction off the court?
Right. I think we kind of made it up on the court wise, like talking and getting to knowing everybody, and it kind of made up for it, even though we couldn't really do things off the court wise. But when we got together, we made sure that it was good, and we got to ask stuff that we can't really ask like off because we couldn't be like with each other like all the time like that. So
Yeah, I think that probably was a big aspect to last year that I'm sure teams really had a hard time kind of figuring out ways to overcompensate, if you will, for the lack of that off-court chemistry, because that's very important on-court chemistry, right? And so that gets
mm,
really built up off the court. But I want to dive in your career and get into how you got to Georgia Southern right now. You started
yeah.
off at Panola College. I know you mentioned as a JUCO school, and I'm curious to hear from you what initially made you to go to Panola College.
So okay, so out of high school, I wasn't heavily recruited. So out of high school, my mom said like, I guess basketball was gonna be done because I didn't have anywhere to go. So after I went to like a prep school down in Miami, and therefore that's when I got to Panola because there's one of the schools, very few schools that was willing to take a chance on me under Grant McMillan, and it was great. It was a decision that it was like I didn't have anything, so it was like let's take this chance, go out to Texas and move out and see and branch off, I trusted them, and it worked out for the better.
Well, clearly, definitely worked out for the better. I mean, you're in a great position right now, and you had a great season last year. We'll get in again last year and then this year as well. But I'm curious to also hear from you. Where did
Yeah.
you notice the most amount of growth in your game during that time that you were at Panola? I mean, where did you really start to see things kind of flourish and blossom for you in your game?
I started realizing it the first year. It was probably toward the middle of the season. I was really like getting accustomed to it at first. Playing JUCO basketball is basically more sped up than playing the prep basketball. So I think really getting to know basketball even more and understanding the game, and it became like easier. Easier. That's when I kind of knew like, okay, well, this is my game is growing because I'm understanding the game more. As things are starting to become more easy. You know.
I've had a lot of guys on my show that have gone the JUCO route and they have sworn by it and they think it is one of the best options to go. Are you somebody that would give that same advice to maybe a younger version of yourself or somebody else that is in that position of, do I go NCAA? Do I go to JUCO first? Is that something that you would advise some people if they're wavering on that decision?
Going to JUCO probably was the best thing for me. Definitely was the best thing for me. I wouldn't change my journey at all. Going from JUCO because going to that JUCO route, it shows you how to really appreciate things to when I get here, I can appreciate things more because certain JUCOs don't have as much as I was not Division I school, so it makes you really appreciate it. It makes you really work hard and let you know like, okay, this is something I want to do. I have to do it every day. I have to get it. I have to really grind for this and get it. So when I get here, it's like it won't be easier, but like I still have stuff you do here also. But it makes you really appreciate stuff now. It kind of really prepared me for being here at Georgia Southern.
Well, that leads me to my next question. What led you to your decision to come to Georgia Southern? I mean, what was it about Georgia Southern that you wanted to come and continue your career at?
I liked it because the coach staff that they recruited me, and I really liked it. It was somewhere also. It was also somewhere close to home, so my mother could come see me play. She works all the time, so she wasn't able to come out there to Texas and watch me play because she has a job. She worked multiple jobs, so it would have been hard. It was very hard and for her to do that. But so coming here, it was close to home. I like the coaching staff. I like the style of play, and it felt right. It felt right. So I think that decision I made was really good.
What was it about the style of play that stood out to you? I mean, was it something defensively, offensively? I mean, schematically, what was it about the team that and the way that they play that really kind of stood out to you and kind of
Right,
pulled you in?
right. Because the offense is very free flowing. It's very free flowing. I'm an athletic guy, so like it really the offense really it it showed that made me really, how can I explain that? It makes my game it complemented my game. It complemented my game, and I knew that this would be the right fit. Also, defensive team, I like playing defense, so it went hand in hand. It was great. It was the right fit.
Well, you had a great, easy, smooth adjustment into Georgia Southern, and I'm curious to hear also from you, where did you notice kind of the biggest adjustment or the biggest transition that you had to make when you went from Panola to Georgia Southern? I mean, was it something that you had to kind of get used to, whether it was playing wise, or I mean, what was it that had you kind of had to get used to, and what was that transition like from one school to the next?
What I had to get used to was because at Panola I didn't have to put on weight because I came in here at 171. And I got to 190. So I gained 20 pounds in a summer. So that's the biggest challenge that I ever had really, because you have to eat a lot of food to gain that weight, and then plus the schedule. Also, you have class, you have individuals, then you have shooting after practice, and then you have practice itself. So that really was the really a big adjustment, the eating aspect, having to eat food because you have to fuel your body the for the task at hand. For what you have to do, you have to eat. So I think that was probably the biggest. That was the biggest thing transitioning.
What was that summer like for you? I mean, that's like you said, a considerable amount of weight to gain in, 3 months,
Hmm.
2 months, whatever. I mean, what was that
Right. Yeah.
everyday grind kind of like for you? And then what was your diet like? I mean, you mentioned the aspect of eating more. So what was the diet like?
Yeah. It was tough because the thing about when I came, it was doing like I'm like quarantine. So somebody had COVID, had to go into quarantine, and eating food is if you sit around all day, you're not going to be hungry. You're not going to want to eat food like so. You can eat one meal and be sitting all day because you're not burning any of that food off. So it was very hard to continue to eat, knowing that I'm not really hungry, but just to eat, just to gain that weight. That was probably the toughest thing. So I was eating everything really. I was eating ribs, like vegetables, like chicken, stuff like that, getting my fruits in. So it was a mixture of food. I was just inhaling this food just to eat it, just to eat food.
Yeah, I'm sure you probably had a couple stomach aches, if you will, after a few
Oh
meals.
yeah,
Just yeah,
definitely.
I'm sure that was at times. I mean, is that? I mean, how uncomfortable is that? That's got to be uncomfortable, right?
Oh, it's very uncomfortable. I'm cut to you straight. It's very uncomfortable, and you have to really tell yourself that you're gonna do it because eating food, how hard it is to eat food and you're not hungry. You just eating. I just ate an hour ago. I'm not hungry now. Like I don't want to eat this food. So you really had to tell yourself, okay, I'm gonna eat this food and just gain this weight. So it was very challenging. It was very challenging.
Yeah, I could only imagine that. I try, I've always been told if you're not hungry, don't eat, but that in that situation,
Right.
you have to kind of go against that rule a little bit.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I want to hear from you also, again, with last year being your first year with the team, and then this is now your second year with them. Where have you noticed the most amount of growth from when you first arrived on campus all the way up until now on this team?
The most growth I've seen is the maturity aspect. Because when we first got here, everybody was new, you know. So it's like, okay, how are we going to do things around here? How are we going to go about doing stuff? Like how are we going to attack things? So I think our approach to everything is different. It's different because at first new coach that was like like I don't know what to do. I'm like my head's cut off like cut off. I don't know what to do. But everything is like it's flowing. Everybody knows you go to weights. You going your hardest at weights. You have individual. You're going hard in individual practice. You're going hard in practice. So I think the approach and the professionalism about everything is like I've seen the most growth. The most growth.
Well, that's a great aspect. I mean, that's something that I think kind of falls to the wayside at times, if you will, because
Mhm.
that maturity aspect is so important. You see these teams that are going to do really well when they've got a bunch of juniors and seniors and guys that are, being able to be used to being around each other and playing that same style of basketball. Now, I want to hear from you kind of
Right.
what your personal expectations are for yourself this year, and then also some expectations that your team has set out for yourselves.
My goals for myself is I really want to win. I'll do anything to win. If that's going out there and just getting rebounds, I'll go do it. I'm not. I'm a player to where I'm a team player. I want to go out there and do anything I can for my team to win. If that's me going down and playing a 5 spot, like just speaking in general, like if anything, I want like I'm a competitor, so anything I do, if we win, that's fine. Like because when you win, everybody eats when you win. So I do pretty much anything to go out there and win a game. That's diving on the floor every play, taking charges, doing the little things, you know, that people don't really like to do. I'll go out there and do it. I'm willing to go out there and do it. Uh, for as you said, as a team, what some goals that we want as a team.
Yeah.
I know as a team we want to win the conference championship because we haven't won it before, I believe, or if we did, it's been a long time. So I think winning a conference championship really would be great because we put in so much work every day, and I believe in all of my teammates. We work hard every day. I see it every day, and that could be a testament like of something that we can all put our eyes on and really sit in and really do this and do it. We know it's not going to be easy. We got to really work hard and keep continuing doing that process that Coach Bird says every day. Make sure we get our sleep, make sure we eat, and do things the right way, and so we can get to that point and win a conference championship.
I love that you mentioned the little things because I think those are again parts of the game that are forgotten, if you will. Everybody wants to score 25 points or wants to have, the big
Yeah,
highlight play, but nobody wants to do those taking a charge or diving on the floor for the loose ball. And that's honestly, I think, the difference in a win and a loss half the time, right? I mean, that is a big part of the game of basketball. But Kamari, you've been awesome to have on the show today, my friend. Before I let you go, one last question. Curious to hear from you, kind of this epiphany or this realization, if you will, as to when did you realize that you could play basketball at the Division I level and that you could truly fulfill that goal that you set out for yourself?
I would say 8th grade, probably middle school, because I was always athletic growing up. I played football first, then I started playing basketball. So when I was very athletic, I'm going out there at an age and I'm dunking the basketball, and that's when I kind of realized like, okay, I can really do this. I can really do this, and I was kind of really ahead of everybody in a way back then. Like I was kind of ahead. I was like, maybe the basketball thing could be a good outlet, something that can really help me out, and I can really do this and go to college for it. So I think middle school, when I really figured out like I can go to college and play basketball.
Do you ever wish that you still played football or that you continue with football? Has it ever crossed your mind?
A lot of people tell me that I should have kept playing football, but I feel like my heart's with basketball. I'm gonna go with my heart and do what I love. I love football too, but I think basketball. I just chose basketball, but I'll definitely play football. I play football. Like I still love. I watch football all the time. I love football, so
Well,
it's still there.
being in Georgia, are you a big Falcons guy?
No, I'm not. I'm from Florida, so
Oh,
I,
okay.
yeah,
Dolphins or
yeah.
Buccaneers?
I'm a Dolphin fan. I'm a
Okay.
Dolphin fan.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah,
I know that a little bit of a rough season right now. It's okay. You guys are in a
yeah.
little it's
It's
a
all right.
transition. Yeah, you guys will be fine. It's okay. These are growing pains. You guys will be just fine. This is a long-term investment. This is not short-term. This is not win now. This is win
Right.
5 years down the road. So, but Kamar, you've been
Yeah.
awesome to have on the show today, my friend. I really appreciate it. Good luck this year. Good luck this season. Stay
Sure.
healthy, stay well, and we'll be chatting soon.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.